Namaskara. Today we are going to see about Prana Ahuti Mantraha. We are already aware of the Panchakoshas, the five sheaths that an individual comprises of. First is Annamaya Kosha, the physical body. Next is Pranamaya Kosha, the breath or the vital force. And Manomaya Kosha, the mind and its impressions. Vijnanamaya Kosha, the ideas and intelligence. And Anandamaya Kosha, blissful experience of deeper superconscious mind. In this, the outermost layer is Annamaya Kosha, the gross form of the physical body, which is made up of food we eat. But how does the food we eat transform into the body? It is because of prana. Our life sustains on prana. That is why when somebody dies, we say prana hoitu. Without prana, the physical body is just a corpse. Although prana is almost always associated with breath, the air movement called vayu, it is much more than just that. Prana is in fact the vital energy for the sustenance of life. The term vayu itself literally means that which flows. Thus, Pranamaya Kosha is the sheath of the vital life energies that mediates between the gross physical body and higher subtler layers. This is what is responsible for transforming the energies from one form to another that is consumed by the individual at different levels. Pranamaya Kosha consists of five pranas. One primary prana, the Mukhya prana, divides itself into five that covers different functions by the way of its movement and direction. They are prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. Prana. Prana, which literally means the forward moving air, is the energy whose flow is inward. Seated at the heart, prana is responsible for the reception of energy from outside into the body. Inhalation, eating, drinking, and the sensory inputs are all governed by prana. Thus, prana receives positive energy from outside through the head down to the pranic center, the navel in the physical body. Apana. Apana, literally the air that moves away, moves downward and outward and is responsible for all forms of elimination and also reproduction. Exhalation, elimination of stool and urine are governed by apana. It is seated at the bottom of the pelvis, the anal region. Apana causes the elimination of negative elements, including emotional and mental experiences, away from the body. It governs the movement of energy from the navel down to the bottom region. Vyana. Vyana, the outward moving air, moves from the center of the body to the periphery. It governs circulation on all levels. It is responsible for moving the food, water, and oxygen throughout the body, keeps our emotions and thoughts circulating in the mind, and provides strength. By doing so, it assists all other pranas. The blood circulation in our body is due to Vyana. Although spread throughout the body, it is significant at the joints. Thus, Vyana governs the movement of energy out from the navel to the entire body. Next is Udana, the upward moving air, is responsible for the movement of energy and functions that hold us up. Seated at the throat, it governs the growth of the body, the ability to stand, to speak, and the effort, enthusiasm, and will one possess. This is the positive energy through which we develop skills, perform action, and evolve in consciousness. Udana governs the movement of energy from navel up to the head. And finally, Samana, which means balancing air, moves from the periphery to the center of the body. It aids in digestion on all levels. It works in the gastrointestinal tract to digest food, in the lungs to absorb oxygen, and in the mind to absorb sensory and emotional and mental experiences. Samana governs the movement of energy from the entire body back to the navel. If we consider our body to be a machine, prana brings in the fuel, samana converts this fuel to energy, Vyana circulates the energy to various work sites, Udana governs the positive energy created and coordinates the work that the machine is able to do. And Apana releases the waste materials or the byproducts of the conversion process. Even if one out of the five fails or malfunctions, it creates an imbalance that affects all others and hence the individual. Thus, a healthy life is maintained by the proper functioning of the fivefold prana, which is nothing but the manifestation of the supreme on a physical plane. This vital force dwells in one's body in the form of a divine fire called Vaishvanara Agni. To this Agni, one offers oblations as an act of worship to the Supreme Being manifesting itself as the vital prana. The food that we eat becomes the offering of the worship. Traditionally, the mantras are recited during every meal. Before laying hands on the food, one ceremoniously purifies it by sprinkling water on and around the food. This food is what keeps one alive, thus referred to as Amrita, the ambrosia. With firm faith, one offers the Amrita food into each of the five pranas with reverence. By these oblations, one prays to unite with the infinite self within and attain immortality. By sipping a small quantity of water, one recites Amritopastara Namasi, implying the water to spread out as an immortal seat for the food we eat. Then the mantras are repeated for each of the five pranas and consuming a small quantity of food as an oblation to the divine fire. Each time this verse is repeated. Shivoma Visha Pradahaya, meaning may the substance that is being offered be auspicious, Shivaha, and assimilated into me, Vishati, and not consumed by hunger, Ma Apradaha. We use the famous phrase to classify people, that is, those who eat to live and those who live to eat. In that context, here the notion is that we channelize the energy that is being consumed towards a higher goal of attaining moksha and not merely satiate hunger. And after completing the meal, once again a small quantity of water is sipped, reciting Amrita Pidha Namasi, implying the water to be an immortal lid to the ingested food. Anything which is considered precious is placed in a container and covered with a lid. The immortal food that is consumed by us is symbolically covered by the immortal container and the lid made of wood. The next part is a series of mantras recited at the end of the meal before one leaves the seat. It states that we have offered with firm faith the oblation of the immortal food to each of the pranas one by one and prays, may that increase the mentioned vital force. And after the meal and rinsing the mouth and washing one's hands and feet, one pours some quantity of water to the right toe, reciting this mantra and contemplating on the identity of oneself with the Supreme. Whatever is in the universe, Anda, is also present in the body, Pinda. Kalagni, the fire that destroys the universe, resides at the root of the universe. Similarly, the fire which consumes the food is supposed to dwell at the toe, by which one is rooted to the earth. When the mind is not distracted by hunger, it is the duty of a person to remind oneself that he is not different from the Supreme, who is the real enjoyer of the food eaten. Although infinite by nature, the Supreme Being dwells in one's heart, assuming the size of a thumb. We pray to this Supreme Being, who is the ruler of the universe, who is the enjoyer of all, and who is the primal cause of our existence, from head to toe, be gratified by the meal just taken. Thus, the series of Prana-Ahuti mantras are meant to direct oneself towards God who dwells within. The act of offering food while eating is not just an introduction of tasty food, but more importantly, a symbolic act of offering one's finite self to the infinite Supreme Brahman. Brahmanima Atmamritatvaya. May we unite with the infinite self within and attain immortality. Om Tat Sat.
Atyanta Samichinam. Very, very nice. Excellent. You did a great research, put together a very beautiful, concise presentation, and it's very, very good to have. It's a collector's item. Everybody should go through this again and again. Yeah, you can stop the recording.
Thank you, sir.